Okay, so today we're diving into this really cool tool I found. It's called KiBot,
KiBot, yeah.
and it's designed to work with KiCad. I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard of it, maybe even use it. It's that free and open source electronics design software.
Yeah, it's getting pretty popular. A lot of people use it.
Yeah, exactly. So if anyone out there listening is tired of those tedious tasks, like all the boring stuff you have to do when you're designing electronics.
Oh, tell me about it. So much clicking.
Right. That's what KiBot is supposed to be like, your new best friend.
Yeah, it can really be a game changer, especially if you're doing like any kind of serious design work.
Okay, so walk me through it from the beginning. What kinds of tasks does KiBot automate?
Well, the main thing is it handles all those essential manufacturing files, like Gerber files.
Okay, Gerber files, yeah. But for people who don't know, what are those?
So Gerber files are basically like, think of them as blueprints, but for your circuit board. You send those to the manufacturer, and that's what they use to actually, print the circuit board.
So instead of like me having to go and figure out all the settings every
Yeah.
single time, KiBot takes care of all that.
Exactly. It's a huge time saver, and honestly, it just kind of takes away that like possibility for human error, because we all know you stare at those circuit boards long enough, you're bound to mess something up, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Been there, done that. Not fun. So it's definitely saving us from some late night manufacturing panic attacks.
For sure.
Okay, so that's one less thing to worry about. But what about catching those errors before we even get to that stage, like during the actual design process?
Right, and that's where those design rule checks come in, the ERC and DRC.
It's like having someone looking over your shoulder, double checking your work.
Pretty much, it goes through and looks for common errors, any kind of violations, and it really just makes sure your design is, solid and actually manufacturable.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
Sometimes my brain just can't even handle another schematic.
I feel that. It's a lot, especially when you're in the zone for hours.
Okay, so we've covered the manufacturing files and the error checking. What else can this thing do?
Well, it can do documentation too.
Documentation, really?
Yeah. Like your bills of materials, those lists of every component you need. KiBot generates those for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it even gives you cost estimations. So you're not like stuck trying to wrangle a spreadsheet at 2 in the morning.
Okay, so it's like it's helping with the budget too. That's actually amazing.
Exactly. It's super helpful, whether you're, just doing this as a hobby or you're running a whole business.
Right, that makes sense. Wow. Okay. So far, KiBot is blowing my mind a little bit.
Wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to one of the coolest parts yet. KiBot also does 3D modeling.
3D modeling.
Yeah, like really high quality 3D models of your boards using Blender.
Okay, now that I'm really interested in. Okay, so before the break, you kind of blew my mind a little bit talking about 3D modeling. I'm really curious about this.
Yeah, it's seriously cool stuff.
So tell me, how does it actually work?
Well, KiBot basically takes your KiCad designs, right? And then it transforms them into these like really detailed 3D models.
Okay, so we're not talking about just like a basic 3D block here.
No, 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 not at all. Like it shows you the components, the placements, all the details, even down to like the surface finishes. It's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of having, like a super high quality 3D model like that?
Well, first off, just visualizing the design, you're not stuck with these like flat schematics anymore. You can actually see how it all fits together in 3D space.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes it way easier to spot any potential issues, like, if something's too close together, or just to get a feel for the layout.
Right, especially with more complex boards, that could be really helpful.
Totally. And it's not just for the designer either. You can use these 3D models for presentations, marketing materials, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone loves a good 3D render. It's way more exciting than just looking at like a 2D drawing.
Oh, for sure. And what's cool is because it uses Blender, which is like a really powerful 3D modeling software, you're not just limited to viewing it. You can actually export it in different formats and use it with other tools.
Oh, okay. So you could take the model from KiBot and use it in a completely different program.
Exactly.
So give me an example. How would you use that?
Well, let's say you're working with like mechanical engineers and they're designing the enclosure for your board. You can export the KiBot model and send it to them, and they can actually use it in their CAD software.
Oh, so they can make sure it fits properly and everything?
Yep, exactly. No more back and forth trying to describe everything over email.
That's huge, because those design clashes can be a real pain.
For sure. Or, even if you just want to run some simulations, like see how your board's going to perform under different conditions, you can use those models for that too.
Wow, it's like You're giving your design a virtual test run before you even, like, solder anything?
Exactly. And this kind of 3D integration, it's not something you see in a lot of free and open source tools. It's really pretty remarkable what they're doing with KiBot.
It's very, very cool. Okay, so we talked about the 3D modeling, but there's one more thing that I really wanted to ask you about, and that's the product variants. I've definitely worked on projects where, like, we needed a few different versions of the same board, and it's always a bit of a headache to manage. So before the break, we were talking about product variants, and I gotta say, for someone like me who hates juggling a million different files, this sounds like a dream come true.
Oh, yeah, it's a lifesaver.
So how does KeyBot make it so easy to handle all these different variations?
So imagine this, you have your base circuit board design, right?
Yeah.
But you need a few different versions, just with little tweaks here and there.
Right, like maybe one needs a different connector, or you swapping out a wireless module or something.
Exactly. And instead of having to create like separate files for each version, KiBot lets you manage all those variations within the same project.
Oh, wow, so it's all in one place.
Yep. You basically set up parameters, right, and different options for things. So for your wireless module, let's say it comes in Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular, you tell KiBot, hey, this component could be any of these. It's kind of like having a drop-down menu right there in your design.
So you don't have to go back and, like, manually swap out components every time you need a different version.
Yeah. Nope. When you're ready to generate your output files, you just choose which variant you want. KiBot does the rest.
That is so much slicker than the way I've been doing it. And what about the documentation? Does it handle that for each variant, too?
Absolutely. You get the correct boom, assembly drawings, everything for whichever variation you choose. So no more second guessing if you're looking at the right files.
Okay, seriously, that's amazing, especially for, like, bigger projects. That could save so much time and confusion. It's like KeyBot just brings order to the chaos.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this isn't just for like small tweaks. We're talking, you can even create completely different products from that same core design.
Oh, wow. So you could have one base design that's like a platform for a whole product line.
Exactly. Think of the design reuse, the time and money you save. KiBot's really bringing these high-end features to everyone, which is incredible.
It's amazing how much you could do with this one tool. Honestly, we've covered so much. Automating all those tedious tasks, creating amazing 3D models, and now managing all these product variants. KeyBot sounds like it has everything covered.
Yeah, it's really remarkable what they've managed to put together.
The coolest part is it's open source, right?
Yeah.
So it's constantly evolving, always getting better.
Exactly. There's a whole community of developers constantly adding new features and making it even better.
That's what I love about open source. So any predictions for the future of KeyBot? Where do you see it going?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but I think it's part of this larger trend, you know? These really powerful design tools, they're becoming accessible to everyone. So as it evolves, I think KiBot has the potential to, just make advanced electronics design something anyone can do, not just big companies with big budgets.
That is such an exciting thought. Who knows what incredible inventions people will come up with when they have these kinds of tools at their fingertips. Well, I have to say, this deep dive into KeyBot has been really eye-opening. I think it's an amazing resource for anyone, whether you're just getting started with electronics or you're a seasoned pro.
I totally agree. It's definitely worth checking out.
And for anyone listening who's feeling inspired, you can find links to everything we talked about today in the show notes, so be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Until next time.